honestly,
round knockout. Oh! Your new welterweight champion. Oh my goodness.
Welcome back to the Sports Money MMA coverage of UFC Vegas 109. We've got Roman Dolidze, Anthony Hernandez battling at the Apex. And I've got Apex Predators of the Octagon here, MMA Jeff, Subhuman Gaucho. And we're going to bring you guys 3 of our early looks to try to beat the books. We've got some big plus money opportunities to cash with here tonight. Fights, of course, will be Saturday. We'll be going live around 4:20 p.m. for what looks like a 4:30 p.m. Eastern start. So you're going to want to plan accordingly. Looks like we've got about 11 fights on the card. This has been a mix and match for the last couple of weeks as they tried to fill the UFC pay-per-view card, UFC Vegas 108, which was an incredibly successful result live. And now we're here for UFC 109. A couple of short notice spots there. Steve Ersig was supposed to take on Haesung Park. Fortunately, he was in the main event last week, and we were able to cash on him getting subbed very quick. It was embarrassing. So we'll see how this fight card works out. There's a couple of WMMA bouts. I've got the fellas here ready to attack. MMA Jeff, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think they actually added a fight, so I think we're back up to 12 fights on this card. But yeah, there's been a lot of mixing and matching. I've heard a lot of negativity on this card. We like the Apex fights, and they're always exciting. I'm excited for this card. I think there's some pretty good matchups out there, and I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of people were hating on last week's card too, and it's like, who are you to decide what's going to be a good card or not? Yep. Get in there and make some, keep a positive attitude first and foremost, and see what you can do to generate some results. We had a great card. We had a great live stream. It was like 8-3 or 9-3. We're just cashing. And that's a lot of fun. Making money is a lot of fun. I know this guy's been making a lot of money, Subhuman Gaucho. How you doing?
Good, man. Yeah, it's been a really nice run lately. I can see why people are down on this card, but yeah, as you said, man, they were down on last week's card, and that ended up being a great Apex card. I mean, I had a lot of fun watching that. Maybe it's not the best card ever. We have a lot to look forward to though. There's PFL at noon on Saturday. Dana White Contender Series on Tuesday. Like a lot of good stuff coming up. So
we got a lot of our fighters in this one too. We talked a little bit about backstage some of these fighters that we've got in here. I mean, this seemed like we've bet on quite a few of these here. We've got Cody Brundage, Stoliarenko may most likely get rinsed, but we saw her take down Meatball. We've seen some folks like Jocelyn Edwards. Even Sir Karen Julius Walker in some of these prelim spots, but Touchy Feely is going to be in play here. Fluffy Hernandez. It's going to be a lot of fun for these fights. You'll see on the side, we've got looks like you're going to take us home with some potential money. How you getting paid?
Yeah, we got this bantamweight bout with Elijah Smith and Toshimi Kazama. I think this is going to be a pretty exciting fight. You got Kazama, 28 years old. He's a Japanese fighter who fights BJJ style. He's 11-4 as a pro. He's coming in after a performance of the night win by a round 2 triangle choke, which was pretty solid against Gregorio. That also gave him his first UFC win. The guy doesn't have a whole lot of UFC experience or fighting against the better class of fighters. Prior to that performance of the night win, he did have back-to-back round 1 KO losses, potentially has some chin issues. We'll see. He was ripping it up in some of the regional smaller promotions, and then he gets to the UFC. He's 1-2. Again, not a terrible fighter in my opinion. He's typically a grappler. He doesn't mind spending time on his back, hence the BJJ style. He doesn't have a whole lot of punching power. He's got 3 KO wins, but again, against some regional opponents, he just doesn't seem to have a lot of the striking. He again much prefer to stay on his back. He's certainly going to want to get this one to the ground, in my opinion. Over half his wins have come by submission, so he's certainly dangerous on the ground. He might have a hard time against Elijah Smith here. Smith on the other side of things, he's got the slight height and very slight reach advantage. He's sitting at 8-1 as a pro with a 1-0 UFC record. He came in after a great performance against a much more experienced Vince Morales back in February. I say, much more experience. Morales has been around for a long time, and Smith ended up getting the unanimous decision win. So, I mean, he dominated. I don't say dominated. He performed well enough that he impressed the judges to get the unam win. This kid's just 22 years old. He's shown the speed. He can get in and out. He can certainly get takedowns, hence his speed. He's got power. Look at all his KOs he's got. He's got grappling ability. And like I said, the ability to take opponents down using his speed. He throws a decent volume of strikes, and he lands just under, as you see on the screen there, 41%. So his striking's pretty decent. And again, with the power behind it, he's certainly going to wait for those. He'll throw the jab out there and wait for that connection on the other hand. And that 1-2 of his is pretty badass. This is the kind of fighter that the UFC does want to see. The striking that he possesses. They want to see this action. They want to see these KOs. They want to see the ability to take guys down and get up. They don't want to see that just drop them down to the ground and lay on them. I think this fight might bring a lot more attention to him than he already has at this point. But either way, I see this being a pretty fast fight right off the gate for as long as it lasts anyways. I see Kazama looking to get this to the ground, but I think Smith's going to use his power and speed to prevent the takedowns. And ultimately, I see Smith throwing a jab or two, and then, like I said, connecting with a solid shot right on Kazama's chin. Smith should be Smith should coast to victory in this one as a -700 favorite. I think personally he's going to get this one done in round one, and I think he's going to get it done by KO in round one. So I'm taking this -700, and I'm going to shoot Smith KO round one at +175. Let's go, Smith. Knock his head off. Mike's bringing us to the John's Matsumoto fight. I think that's the second one on the main card. Mike, what are you going with in this?
Absolutely, Jeff. John's Matsumoto going to be an interesting bantamweight fight. And look, early splits, they love this favorite here in Jean Matsumoto. 72% of the money looks early action identifying coming in on this guy. And I guess at first I can kind of get it. He's the younger fighter. You look at his pedigree, kind of the thing I look for. He's in the developmental programs in the LFA, right? He goes from LFA to Dana White Contender Series, goes out there and gets himself a win, gets himself the opportunity to move forward in his UFC career. And, he goes out, he takes out Dan Argueta, got a nice little submission guillotine, takes Brad Katona. Now, as the competition gets more fierce, starts getting a little longer, gets a decision. It's a UNAM decision 9 months ago. 5 months ago, he takes on Rob Font and he takes that split decision loss. More or less what happened in that spot was he took a late clip, got a little blood on him, and kind of swayed some of those judges' scorecards. And I think when we look at Vegas, what they don't want to see is they don't want to see a lot of wrestling. They want to see a lot of grapple or a lot of, striking, right? We talk about violence. They want to see action. I don't know if submission might be fine, but at the end of the day, you're going to want to stand and bang. And I think that's something that the Muay Thai guy here does in Matsumoto. I just get frustrated with that Muay Thai. It's that chop the tree. You're just constantly working those legs. And I guess you're successful if you can get the guy off kilter. On the flip side of things, though, when you look at Miles Johns, Chapo, it's going to chap a lot of people up this week when they start to fade him, because you look at his most recent fight, Felipe Lima takes a UNAM decision loss. And if you look back at his pedigree, yeah, he's definitely old. He almost falls outside of that 7-year window that we certainly don't want to be a part of. But he fights better at 135, not 145. And if you look at that Felipe Lima spot, that's exactly where he was positioned to be. And I think this is one of those spots where, yeah, he's got to take a little bit more weight cut, but when he fights down at 135, he wins. Again, the eye, if you just look at it really quick, you see that loss, you say, man, that was ugly, and they're both coming off a loss, and this guy's younger, so I'll take him. But you can't discount that. And I think this is one of those spots where we probably see these guys go deep. They probably both exhibit decent cardio. The problem I have with Johns is he's kind of an idiot. He's got that wrestling background, and I mentioned the judges aren't going to want to necessarily see that at the apex, but he's powerful. When he swings to find the button, and I think that's where the damage meter can come into play. And Matsumoto has clearly shown that he can wear some damage, and I think that's what Johns does to him here. I think the wrong guy is in the favor position in this case. I think we got a situation where we're going to take a big dog in Johns at +260. I think it goes deep. They both should have decent cardio when it comes down to it, but I think when it comes to showing the blood, I think that's going to be a spot where Matsumoto likes to be aggressive. He throws a lot of punches, but look at his, you look at his absorption rate. He almost takes more punches in than he gives out. And that's a bad combination when you're looking at a potential decision situation. I like Johns. I think Johns by decision is a really good look. Johns probably by split decision. It's going to be a tight fight. I think it's an evenly matched battle. But at plus 260, I'm going to take a shot with Johns here in the dog roll and see if we can't make a big score. We're going to go on to Subhuman Gaucho. He's going to try to give us a big score, and he's going right to the big event, the final showcase. And it's Subhuman Gaucho breaking it down for us.
Well, good stuff, boys. I've got some similar reads on those fights, so nice to see we are all aligning pretty well. So main event time, and then we can turn our attention to the Dana White Contender Series, hopefully after a big win here. So, Fluffy main event, 5-rounder. This is usually a great Fluffy spot, and he's been a great run. Everybody loves Fluffy. He's, just the craziest motor outside of maybe Merab Dvalishvili. Probably not quite as talented as Merab, but then again, it's hard to keep up with a motor like his, especially at this middleweight weight class where just about everybody slows down in 3-round fights, let alone 5-round fights. So, if this one goes deep, you got to think there's a pretty good chance that Fluffy Hernandez is going to win 3, 4, 5, certainly above 50%. On the other hand, I think this is a tough matchup for Fluffy. I think this is probably his toughest matchup that he's seen in the UFC, just style-wise. Roman Dolidze, not a great striker, but the he throws bricks, man. He's got some real power on the feet. And Fluffy, especially early in fights, he's kind of a slow starter. I think he will get touched up here a bit. And his durability, not great, especially the body. And some of Dolidze's best weapons on the feet are his knees to the body. We've seen him in fights against other grapplers, such as Kyle Dawkins, with those knees. But the grappling here is going to be really interesting, especially early while Dolidze is fresh. We saw Dolidze in other 5-round fights where he did slow down immensely. I'm thinking of like the Imavov fight in particular. But, he's not a punk. He's not just going to give up or fold or throw in the towel. He will keep fighting, even if he's going to slow down. So, I think just as Fluffy's likely to win 3, 4, 5, I think that Roman Dolidze has everything he needs to win 1 and 2, and quite possibly to win in rounds 1 or 2. This is definitely, I think, the hardest BJJ matchup that Fluffy has seen so far, and that's saying a lot because he is a guy that fought and even beat Rodolfo Vieira. Extremely impressive win. Rodolfo, very, very accomplished BJJ player. But, you go back and watch that fight. I mean, Rodolfo's having a ton of success. He's mounting Fluffy. He's, kind of big brothering him early before he just completely death gasses. Dolidze has a bit of a different BJJ game. Maybe not as accomplished as Rodolfo Vieira, but I think Roman Dolidze has the nastiest guard at this weight class. And he's going to have to use it for sure in this fight because I think if this goes late, he is going to be taken down an awful lot. And perhaps, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez can just rinse and repeat and run him through the spin cycle. It's certainly plausible, but at close to 3-1, I think Dolidze is extremely live in this match. And I tell you what, I am not taking Fluffy at that sort of a number, especially when he's a guy that often drops early rounds and early minutes in fights. But, Fluffy, he's going to put that guard to work. He's a guy that will drop for leg locks. And people, they kind of get Fluffy a little bit mixed up because he's not a great BJJ guy. He's a guy that really wears people out. And, as I said, he has just this legendary motor. But when you speak in terms of who's the better BJJ player, it's Roman Dolidze, and it's really not even close. So, yeah, give me a Roman Dolidze plus 280. I think this is probably the best we're going to see all week. It got to plus 310 at one point. I was able to get in at plus 285 the other day, but I expect we will see some big sharp action on Dolidze at one point, even if everybody's going to be parlaying up the main event favorite and taking those 3, 4, 5 props, which I can't really talk anybody off of. It's a kind of a great system bet with Fluffy, but in the end, give me the dog here. I think Roman's gonna shock some people this weekend. All right. Until then, Best of luck, everybody.
Great job, gentlemen. Thank you guys all for checking this out. You'll see the recap on the side with Smith KO round 1, Johns, Dolidze, big battles, big price tags. Don't forget to consider the parlay, putting all 3 of these together because it's going to be a monster score. We're going to have a monster Saturday. We've got all kinds of fun sports going on. Early start means a relatively early finish. So plan ahead, get ready. Make sure you leave a comment in the post after the video. Tell us your favorite fight of the night. Tell us if you're going to tail. Tell us if you're going to fade. But make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Good luck with your betting. Follow MMA Jeff 19 on X. Follow my guy Subhuman Gaucho on X. And you can follow me at PimpSlapPOD. Until next time, good luck, good betting. Let's see some violence this weekend. Good luck, everybody. Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. We don't stop. Rain, sleet, or snow. Pregaming is good to go.
Snow, Curtis blow, flow, fuck all you haters. Fuck making big shoes and best simulators. Fuck cashing in, all we wanna do is win. Put the juice in the gin, now it's time to begin. Fuck the books, they can take it on the chin. Surrendering dividends, don't fuck with Mike Cam. The show starts with capping and ends with pimp slapping and stacking cash and boatloads. They won't know what happens with pre-gaming and others. They seem lame like Abel meeting Cain. A bullet to the brain. We don't give a fuck like Kiki said. We ain't playing. We ain't game, but we ain't playing.
I'm back and I'm joined with my guy. Oh, we got a fight. We got a fight. We got a fight. We got a fight. Is that 3 times this week? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Because I let everybody know, even though I was muted. The last screen said it all. I don't give a. You know the rest of how that goes? Let's go. It's time for us to make some money here today. It's Friday. That means we've got not just an 11 plays on the card here tonight. Great trends, great opportunities, great angles to get cashed. We've got our friend Andrew Babakitis, not muted anymore. He's going to be checking in with us from the sportsbook, telling us what's happening in Vegas. Where's the cash coming in? What are the sharp bettors on? What are the things you need to know so that we can continue to make music? And that music is beautiful money, what we do live. I'm going to tell you this. Some of you guys sent me some slips. Slips. I appreciate it. You don't have to, but I appreciate those of you that did. Let me tell you why you should be watching us on Saturday. Because unequivocally, nobody gives you guys more plus money opportunities than the Sports Money Squad. Not only are we fighting, we're cashing big. Where are some of these slips? Plus 200, plus 310, plus 340 live bet, minus 110 on a same game parlay, plus 200, plus 325, plus 650 out there. plus 185, plus 600. Just a couple of slips that were sent in. You guys telling me how excited you were about the big money you won. And I'm going to do something special with that for this week because I think it's important to note. Not just pregame betting and talking to you guys about what we're betting on. We go around the horn and we do the pregame strategy and all that fun stuff. But it's live betting that helps us beat these books. Nobody does it better. Stand on business. We do it different. We want to educate you guys. We want to give you the stats. We want to give you the trends. We want to give you everything that's relevant so that you can make a decision and then decide whether you're going to follow us or not. That being said, though, we do have an 11-play card, as I mentioned here today. 11 plays. We've got 2 in the WNBA, 1 in preseason football. We got a slew of them. I guess that leaves 8 for Major League Baseball. I'm sorry, 7 for baseball. We got a CFL game. A CFL game tonight. And of course, as I mentioned, our friend from Las Vegas will be checking in with us here at 6:45. So we got to get busy. We got to get to work. You guys know the most important thing you can do is smash that thumbs up button. Now, there's a lot of ways to support the Sports Money Squad. We don't have big business. We don't have corporate America. No one's writing checks. You can certainly get out there, jump on board with Winnable. You can jump on board as a silver or gold upgrade from the membership. Most likely you were gifted. But most importantly, take a second and smash that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. Put a 1 in the chat if you swept the KBO board with me this morning. I will tell you, I swept the board. I'll start it off with a 1. How did you get those plays? Well, there was a couple of different ways. Certainly Winnable subscribers, they were text to them around 12:30 this morning. You got a text alert telling you there's KBO action from your boy Mikey Money. If you are all members, as a matter of fact, had access today, all members, bronze, silver, and gold members, as long as your notifications are turned on with YouTube, I put it in the post tab. You probably got a message around 1 a.m. saying, check your post tab. There's 3 KBO plays out there. And cash, we made it was like 4 units on 3 plays. There was a parlay in there and 2 additionals. I think a minus 125 and a minus 130, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, it was a minus 125, a minus 130, and a plus 165, I think. So I guess it was 3.65 units. That's how we kicked off the day. We needed it. We didn't fire off the best of spots last night. Preseason football. Not the start we wanted. That's why we're skinnying it back to 1 play here. The Colts, minus 3.5 in the first half. They ended up losing the game outright. They're bad. Anthony Richardson's bad. He gets hurt. I think he's probably concussed. They're saying it's just a broken finger. He had the old claw hand. Didn't look good. The Cincinnati Bengals got busted up by the Eagles. Way too much line movement. And the parlay didn't cash. Now, we did cash the closer. The plus 5.5. Seattle had a chance to win the game outright. But they didn't get it done. That was a late night special. That one took a long time to cash. The WNBA continues to be solid for us. We went 1-1-1, right? We had the plus 11 on Connecticut. They lost by 11. Some people got the hook. And they said, I waited and I got the hook. Congratulations. The Indiana Fever got busted up by 35 points. But the Atlanta Dream, they were down at the end of the first half. You could have live bet them at the end of the first half plus 130. They ended up coming out there winning that game. So there was some great things happening with some big live spots out there. The CFL, hey, that thing sailed over. You guys were right. 41-38. BC gets the win outright on a 3-point dog. Did move to 2.5, worth noting. Then we fired off in baseball. We had the Atlanta Braves. They play 9 innings for a reason. Took until the 8th inning to come back from being down. I think they were like 6-2. They fired off 8-6 for a final. Skeens in the under did not cash, and the under in the first 5 did not cash. So it was a little disappointing there. So it was, not the finest of hours, but we followed it back up in the morning and wiped it all out. Now we've got a big card tonight. I'm fired up. I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are as well. Get yourselves ready. Let's get those best bets in the chat. I want to fire through and see who's here, who's ready to go. And see if there's anything else I'm missing as we put on a show. But Really excited for this weekend. We've got a big UFC Vegas 109 card. It's going to be an early start. It starts at 4:30 p.m. So we'll pop off around 4:15, 4:20-ish, give or take, which means we get time to cover NFL preseason, Major League Baseball, WNBA. And they're talking about banning fans from the stands in the WNBA because yet another device found its way to the court. Sophie Cunningham's a good follow on Twitter if you haven't done so already. And in the world of the NFL, New England Patriots coach is willing to do anything and everything to win a Super Bowl, including cutting his thing off. I can't make it up. He said it himself. As ridiculous as it sounds, they're going to have to run through Buffalo. And I think it's going to be Buffalo Eagles Super Bowl with the Eagles coming out on top. Matter of fact, if you want to get some early action in, take what I think is going to be the number one team in college ice hockey, the Penn State Nittany Lions to win the NCAA Frozen Four. Take the number one team in all of the land in college football. That's the Penn State Nittany Lions to win the NCAA football championship. Add to it the Eagles. Add to it the Phillies. And it's going to be a great year for Philadelphia and Pennsylvania fans. I'm fired up for it. Those aren't homer picks. Those are factually driven. You'll come back to me in a year and thank me. That being said, let's go. Jay Main's ready to go. Lovable plays 2. Redbeard, Dougie Wise wants the Padres -1. Aubrey's here. He likes Kazama getting cooked, fried, grilled, steamed, and sauteed. A lot. Sounds chewy. Irish King's ready to roll. SF Niner says Hernandez on the money line. He's going to go with a little fluffy feely parlay. That's one of MMA Jeff's favorites. Shout out to Stop Geo Engineering. Thanks, my guy, Razor Sharp Picks. Got to hang out with him for a little bit this afternoon. San Francisco Niners going to fade Dolidze. Redbeard, I told you what you can do with that feedback. There's a reason we're doing this, by the way. There's a reason we're doing this. Strategic. Some people have... Hey, a lot of hammers. All they see is nails. There's a lot more than nails in the world. Let's go Silent Rob. Says new name muted Mikey. Gonzo's here. Dr. Boobies. These MMA and golf breakdowns are brutal. Just post a video and let people watch. Well, Dr. Boobies, you're banned. Thanks for coming by. Nasty Nate says you're muted again. Oops. Ignatius Penny Feather the 7's here. Yeah. Bad deal with the mute. I don't even know why it was muted. Didn't make sense. Oh, you know what happened? The internet shut down on me, right? Or not the internet, but StreamYard. And I had to do a system reset. So I think when I reset it, it goes right to it. Gonzo says I'm on the Athletics money line and Milwaukee run line for Gonzo. Nasty Nate says, let's skip to the UFC. You just want to talk UFC for the next 45 minutes? Thomas Bird, Kansas City versus the Twins. Take the over. Don't be baited. I kind of agree with that. Lewis Eisenhower agrees with the KBO picks this morning. Ignatius Penny Feather wants to see me do the dance. Nicholas Handy says Baltimore and the Black and White City connect. Mountcastle's back. O's -1.5. Bunch of you guys made that money. Robert McCormick says tad late, but today's been busy. Dude, like I said, StreamYard wasn't working for me, so very tough. But again, a reason that we're doing this stuff. So now you guys know. Now you know. It's not just about pushing the button. There's a thing going on behind the scenes. There's a thing happening back there. And I prefer ready, shoot, aim. I've made that clear. Somebody with the name of Dr. Boobies. Get the fuck out of here. Moving on down the road. We're going to win. I'd rather you not get any of them. Now we're all on the same page. Now we can get going. It is time. I'm going to rapid fire through this card because we do have our guy. And take a look. It's the same time we always start. So rest assured. I don't just see a nail. I might hammer the bookies, but there is strategy at heart here. We're going to pop this card off with, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go get a YouTube channel. Go look at the metrics. Go get the feedback. They'll tell you. They'll tell you exactly what to do and how to do it. And that's what we do. We listen. We're a sponge. Sponges. We want to soak it all up. 3-0 in the KBO. We're going to start to fire off here. I like the Pirates. I like the Pirates all day today. This line's moved last minute. I'll tell you this. You want to fade the Reds in game 2. By the way, before I even jump off, there is a tennis play, an ATP tennis play that's going to start. It's going to start soon. I'll put that out there as a free play. Unwinnable. if you're a subscriber. A lot of you are. I think we have 45 or so subscribers already, which is impressive. Thank you, guys. You will be able to get notified that plays out there, and it's going to pop off. It's delayed. It's men's tennis. Shit's always delayed. The Pirates. We've got Chase Burns on the other side for the Reds. This guy can't get a win. The Astros opened up as minus 120 road chalk. 55% of the bet, 61% of the cash are on the Stros. The lines move from minus 120 to even money. Sorry, something's, like I said, my system's been all messed up today. Totals have gone from 8s to 7.5. So it's not a full-fledged 7.5. They're kind of leading the witness. 94% of the bets, 95% of the cash are on the over. Houston, do we have a problem? It's the Yankees who I think have the problem in this case. 61-54, but they're going to go to Schlittler. 4.58 ERA. In the what world should this young phenom Schlittler be the guy that gets to be the favorite against a Hunter Brown-led Astros? Hunter Brown, 2.4-ish ERA on the docket. I told you guys already, the number one team to miss the playoffs per the sharp bettors in the AL East are the New York Yankees. This is going to be relevant for later in the card as well, because what do we want to do when AL East teams play outside the division on the road? We want to play them. Hint, hint, Toronto and Dodgers. Now, the Yankees got shut out against Texas. Prior to that, they were getting busted the fuck up. Lost. They lost to Miami. They lost that out. They came back and they won 3-2. The Stros went to Miami. They busted them up 8-2, 7-3. It was a getaway day. They lost 6-4, still scoring runs. That was the nemesis of the Astros to kick this season off. Can they score runs? The play today, to pop the top on our card here, this is what you guys are here for. We're all here to get it done. We want to see it. You get to see UFC. Guess what? Next Wednesday, you're going to see golf. Next Thursday and Friday, you're going to see UFC until the football season starts. And then we'll have more videos to show you guys. But there is a method to the madness. In the meantime, the Houston Astros are the way that we are going to fire on this opening card. And the bottom line, where's the toughest place to play after an extended road trip? The first game back home. You want some proof? Sure. You know I come ready to play. I got Exhibit A. AL road teams when both teams coming off extended road trips. In other words, an AL home team off an extended road trip. If you fade that home team, you're 78-45. You've won 5 in a row. We're catching the Astros at almost even money. I think it's a great look on the card. I think we're going to take a shot here with the Stros. We want the full game. I see some of you guys like that first 5. I respect that. For sure, I respect that, especially minus a half at plus 120. Thought process for me was just simply, I want those bats to get tired, and I want them to stay tired, and I want the team that's been hitting runs in the Houston Astros to fire. I want them to keep it rolling. That's the way we're going to keep it going. That's how we're going to start the card here tonight. We're going to move on to game number 2. We took the Atlanta Braves last night. Pretty much the entire planet was on the Miami Marlins, thinking it's got to be a Marlins spot. Wrong. Yuri Perez fired. Hats off to him. I don't even wear a hat, but if I did, I would take it off. As we're looking at this game, though, the Marlins pop off at this one, and they were a minus 112 favorite. The road team favorites moved to minus 125. We have 63% of the bets, 64% of the cash on the Marlins, and it's moving in their direction. So we check that box. We see 88% of the bets, 87% of the cash on the over 8. Slight juice to the over. Not a ton of movement. I'll tell you, I'm going to stay off of the totals for a minute with these Marlins. Unless the damn thing jumps off and forces my hand to click the button, I'm going to do my best to stay off of it. I think I've lost like 4 in a row on their totals. And it's unders. And they've got Eddie Cabrera. Can Eddie Cabrera right the ship? Short story with lots of pop-up pictures. Here's a pop-up picture for you. I'm going to take the Marlins in this game. Not a fan of Bryce Elder. Not a fan of his 6.03 ERA. The Marlins were able to, the Braves were able to come back. I think, despite the fact that teams finish the way they start the way they finish, I have an itchy suspicion that them boys are pissed. They let that one get away from them. They knew they had that there, and they're still in the playoff hunt. All things considered. I mean, I know it sounds a little ridiculous with their record, but if they were an AL team, they'd very much be alive. In the NL, they got to start scratching off wins. And when you look at Eddie Cabrera, this guy holds down a 3.89 on the road. He went 6 innings his last start. He only got hit one time for a homer. That's it. That was against the Yankees, by the way. He's gone 6 innings, 3 straight starts, 4 of his last 5. And the games that he was doing it against, Milwaukee. Hot as fuck. Goes 7 innings deep. Gives up 5 hits, 2 earned runs. San Diego, St. Louis, New York Yankees. There was a Baltimore game in there. He went 4 innings. He's out for the big start against that Milwaukee Brewers. Furthermore, from a statistical analysis, what do we know about the Braves? I'll wait and see if anybody can tell me, because we've been talking about it. We have talked about this for 2 weeks now. You want a hint? It's got 19 straight wins. 19 straight wins. Does anybody know? This is a comprehension check. You hear me, but are you listening? Are you listening, but you can't hear me? Shout out to Wesley Snipes. I can hear Jimmy. Oh, no, you can't hear Jimmy. Don't tell me I can't hear Jimmy. Who hears me? Nobody? Not one person. What, am I muted? Hello? Hello? Nobody? Nobody. Not one person. What do we know about the Braves after they give up 7 or after they score 7 or more runs? They score 7 or more runs, they lose the next game. And they've done it 19 times. 19. There it is. Some of you guys need to see it in writing. I'll put it in the chat. 19 straight times. I had to look stop. You got me. I was like, shit, am I really? Am I really muted? After they score 5 or more runs, they do lose. They've lost 8 in a row in those spots. After they score 7 or more, they've lost 19 times. We've cashed on it the last 5 times. We're going to take the Miami Marlins to pop that card off there, to pop that top. We're going to go Phillies and Texas Rangers game here, and we'll keep her moving. We'll keep a brisk pace, just the pick to get this thing moving. We'll talk a little bit about the cash flow splits before we do that, of course. I'm going to tell you this. Guardians and White Sox. First cut was the Guardians. First cut. Problem is 80% of the bets, 91% of the cash are on the Guardians. It's come down 23 cents. 23 cents. They've made it more attractive with everybody betting the Guardians. Now, part of that's because of Savali. Savali can't win in this position. The home spot, slight dog, doesn't win. He's lost 9 in a row. So I get it. I just don't like what I'm seeing from the cash flow. So there you go. There you have it. Fucking fly. Beat it. That fly was just, I think that fly just said 19 losses. Oh, the fly knows. Fly's been listening. Phillies open up at minus 126. They're now minus 129. 70% of the bets, 80% of the cash are on the Phillies. It's moved 3 cents in the Phillies direction. I don't like it. I don't like trusting the Phillies on the road. They're my squad. You guys know that. They'll win the World Series. I just gave that out again. In April, we gave out Kyle Schwarber to win the MVP. It was like 35-1, 40-1. Not like that anymore. And he got Sanchez on the mound, which is a great thing. Kelly on the other side for the Texas Rangers, a little nervous. Now, you guys know the deal. A left-handed pitcher. What's the first indicator with a left-handed pitcher? What's the first indication we look for when we see a left-handed pitcher? Somebody put it in the chat. We're not going to get time for our guy Andrew if you guys don't cooperate. This is a learning process. We're trying to learn together. First thing we think about when we see lefties is unders. Chris Sanchez comes in as an under. Now that's important because on the other side, Merrill Kelly is the righty. The Texas Rangers, they've been striking. Phillies on the road doesn't strike fear. They've also had a pretty good situation at home. They played that Detroit team on Sunday. finished off that series. They played Baltimore. They beat the shit out of Baltimore, but they shut them out 5-0. What happens after a team gets shut out? They win. Yankees got shut out by Texas Rangers 2-0. What happens after a team gets shut out? They win. Yankees won that last game. So you got two teams coming off of shutout wins that took L's. With a lefty on the bump, I've got to look at this game, and I gave you guys the leading indicator in this one. You guys aren't going to like learning hour on Friday with Mikey Money. So I'm fired up today. Stop. She says, I'm learning, man. Shit. Look, we're going to take the under because we have some intersecting zeros in this game. The Phillies, Sanchez, unders. I'm not making it up. He's 9-0-1 to the under, and they're averaging 4.2 runs per game. As a lefty, not only a lefty, but the ace on the bump shuts him the fuck down. It's Texas that finds themselves in a precarious under position. Yes, they played the Yankees. Yes, they were at home. Reality is 14-0 to the under. If they're playing teams that get a lot of hits, more than 7.5 a game. They walked more than 4 bases and left 10 guys stranded. In other words, they got walked and stranded runners. What does that mean? The bats aren't firing. They're averaging 5.5 runs per game in those spots. So we've got intersecting zeros, both of them south of a 6. That means we're going to go with the Texas under 7.5. Texas can pull it off. I can see extra time, says Timmy Tushu. I kind of do lean to Texas. Aubrey says, I've got the under in on Parkway. Let's keep it moving. Quick ad, Minnesota. Last minute ad for me. Despite the first cut, I jumped in on the Twins. They open at minus 130. They're now minus 134. 39% of the bets and 84% of the cash think the Royals have a shot tonight. I'm going to tell you this. They faced a tough competition in the Red Sox. They got busted up all but that last game. And that last game was still a little bit of a sweat. But what do we know about the Minnesota Twins? We know 2 things. One, their best pitcher's on the bump in Joe Ryan with a 2.83 ERA, and they win 10-5 under him. Seth Lugo goes for Kansas City with a 3.07 ERA, 8-5 on that record. Collectively, factor them all together, squeeze them up. And the bottom line for me with this Minnesota Twins, I told you, when they win in bunches. They just took down that Detroit Tigers team. For the Royals, step up or step down in class for the Twins. Step down. They're feeling good in Minnesota. They're not in a situation where, you know, the skies, they're the team that's picked to win the Central. They're a home team. They haven't had to travel. Kansas City's off that travel situation as well. I'm going to fire it back. Reverse line movement, scratchy, fishy situation. And I think this team wins in bunches. We'll stay on the Twins until further notice. Matter of fact, I might even stop putting them out there. just start leaving them out there. Just expect the Twins until they lose. This is one of those teams that can rip off 10, 11 wins in a row. And then you look back at it and you're like, how come I missed that? How did I miss those spots? We're not going to miss those spots. We're going to fire on them. We're going to keep it going. We got 6:34. We got 11 minutes till our boy joins us here. Let's talk about this next game. Let's parlay this next game. The entire planet are on the Milwaukee Brewers tonight, except for maybe Redbeard. I didn't see if Redbeard's on the Mets or not. Let's see. It is a tremendous Milwaukee Brewers spot. You guys have heard me talk about it before. The NL non-division favorites, they're a favorite for a reason. They're 174-74. And hot teams stay hot. The home favorite that's on a winning streak in a series opener rolls off 28-1. Their best guy with a team that's on a hot streak beats the other team. The Brewers in the under 9. I looked at this one. I thought, what can we count on with the Mets? We can count on not counting on the Mets. Their bats. Talk about this Minnesota Twins team. It rolls in bunches. Now, they do have Kodai Senga. So what I like about that is it puts a little governor, puts a little restrictor plate on the Milwaukee Brewers' ability to go out there and flood the yard with runs. We have Brandon Woodruff on the other side. And Brandon Woodruff has been going 6 innings. 4 of his last 5 starts. He plays great at home. He did struggle a little bit against that Nationals team, but he fired right back against the hot Seattle team. He shut him out, left 2 hits, no runs. Plays against Miami, gives up 4 hits, 2 runs. Plays that Nationals team that was winning. But, man, this guy just keeps ripping off the W's. Win, 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 win. I'm going to jump behind this hot team on a hot streak. Not trying to get in front of the train. We did take that under against Hotlanta. That was a mistake. But I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to add this up to a 9. Sitting around 8s and 8.5s. I like the pitching matchup here. I think it's a pitcher's duel early. I think both these guys go 6 plus. Redbeard says, this guy. You got me fired up, Redbeard. I'm ready. 9 minutes. Our boy will be popping off here. And we got the Cubs and the Cardinals. The Cubbies and the Cardinals. If this line doesn't scream suspect to you, we're not looking at these lines right. This team opened up at minus 168, the road Cubs. Now, I get it. There's some tremendous trends on the Cubs. And Kyle Tucker, if you follow the free plays over at Winnable, he's a guy I gave out for an RBI tonight. So I do expect at least 1 run from the Cubbies. But when these teams play, we tend to see lower scoring battles. 86% of the bets, 94% of the cash are on the Cubs. The road chalk hasn't really moved. It's oscillated. It went from plus 142 to plus 143 on the Cardinals. It's gone from minus 168 to minus 165 on the Cubby side of things with an 8.5 juice to the under. And we're 90 and 90. 90% of the bets, 90% of the cash on the over. 90 and 90. It's McGreevy. It's Boyd. And I think that the betting public saw this and says, well, Boyd's got this 2.34 ERA. He's 11 and 4. They keep racking up wins with this team. What's the deal? He's a lefty. Yeah. Lower scoring opportunity. So now we've got a lower scoring game. We already know Kyle Tucker's going to drive in an RBI. What does that leave? Well, it leaves a Cardinals team that has been finding a way to score runs. They scored 14 runs in that 3-game series on the road against the Dodgers. And so I looked at this one and I said to myself, why can't we see a 1-run game? If they win, they're winning by margin. And on the flip side of things, the Cubs are just 2 and 3 in their last 5. A week ago, people were going, what's wrong with the Cubs? Why has that changed? They played a team that's brutal in the Reds. The Reds can't find runs. They held them to 3. I'm sorry, they held them to 1 that last game. But outside of that last game of a series, tough to sweep a team. I'm not buying the Cubs here. I'm certainly not buying them at this price tag, and I don't like the fact the line hasn't moved. So I got the 1.5 at a minus 120. I got a couple dollars on the money line. I think the money line's a fair play in this case, too. It's a big return, but I do suspect for the big gusto, this is a spot where we get these boys to keep it low and slow. And the last game on the card here for baseball. It's not the razor. It says if you're drunk, raise your hand. Shout out to Justin McKelvey. Appreciate all you guys coming through, watching us here. Our boy's going to be here in just a few minutes to talk about some UFC Vegas. Can't wait to spend a few minutes hearing what's going down. Rapid fired the card. I gave you guys Houston, Miami, Texas under 7.5. I parlayed the Brewers in the under 9. I got the Minnesota Twins. I got the Cardinals on the run line. I'm going to add a dog spot here with the Blue Jays. Bottom line, hot teams stay hot. We'll talk about it in a second. 55% of the bets are on the Dodgers. Crazy. 55% of the cash on the Cardinals. Bigger bettors coming in on the Cardinals. The line's gone down from 138 to 116. On the bump, Kershaw and Scherzer. I'm going to tell you this. I put some money on the first 5 under 4.5. Everybody thinks this game's going to go over. They're like, these guys aren't the old Warriors of year past. These guys are leaking runs. But when you dig deeper, Kershaw's got a fresh arm. He came off the IL midseason. Scherzer's got a fresh arm. And takes some older guys a little bit of time to stretch out. So bear that in mind. You see me playing golf. I got to play 2 rounds of golf in one day because the first 9, I'm creaking and cracking. Second 18, I'm firing. Don't play me that second 18. Then you got 92% of the bets, 93% of the cash on the over 9. It's juice to the under. Tennis plays popping off right now. Hopefully you guys were able to get that in with you. And when I talk about the hot team staying hot, game 1, roadies on a winner. winning streak, 325 and 276. Just hot teams in the first game of a series. They're 128 and 87. What defines a hot team? Well, Jesus, I would think a team that set Major League Baseball record with number of hits in a series against them Colorado Rockies qualifies. I know they're coming off the Coors series, but the Dodgers have done none to impress me. They went 1-2 at home against them Cardinals that we just talked about. They did beat up the Rays on the road, but they played some shit teams. When they played decent teams, they struggle. And then we go back to what I mentioned at the top of the show. AL East teams on the road beat the shit out of the other teams. At home, they struggle. They go 50-50 against divisional opponents. When they get on the road, look the fuck out. I think the Dodgers are in trouble today. It's drum beating time. Shout out to Jay Peasy in the house. Jay Peasy. I popped off with your intro. I popped off with the Jay Peasy intro today. YouTube has changed the rules. We can curse at the onset of the show. I might be the only one that's excited about it. First game on the WNBA card, I'm going to the Washington Mystics. You guys know the deal. We don't have a lot of cash flow split information when it comes to the WNBA, but I do say we have a trend in our favor on this one. And for me, the biggest thing comes down to this. You want to fade teams that are home favorites off a road game and scored more than 86 points the last game. Always tough to transition environments, especially when you come back home. I suspect that a lot of that has to do with you have to pick up the dry cleaning. You got to go back to the grocery store and make sure you got fresh milk in the fridge and all that other shit that goes into it. You got your friends coming back home. They're like, hey, you got to make a bunch of phone calls. You got a bunch of calls to return. You got all kinds. You got to unpack the bags. You got all shit going on. You got to get the dog from the kennel. Who knows? But they're 66 and 122 in those spots. I'm going to take the Washington Mystics. Did I say Dallas Wings? I meant Washington Mystics. Give me the Washington Mystics in that spot with the 11 points. I'm going to go to the Seattle Storm in the first half. My boy's backstage. He's ready to go. I see him back there. This one comes down to who's been beating the shit out of who. And I think the challenge is the Aces started off the series or the season. High expectations. Yeah, they struggled against the Liberty and previous back-to-back WNBA champions. But this is where I think the books have a difficult time spotting a number on them. And the Storm, well, they've won 2 of 3 matchups on the season. So the reason I went first half in this spot here is I just think they start out strong. They're 6-1 as a dog against the spread. The Aces are just 13 and 17 at home. But I think what happens is they read and react. The Storm come out, they put the boot to ass early. There's neon green stuff flying all over the place. And then when it comes down to it, that second half, I think the Aces make the adjustments and they go all in. It's Hail Mary time and all in to go back out there and try to even this series against the Storm. And that means I don't think they bench players. I think they put literally right to the last minute of the game. I think some Aces team totals or player team totals over make a lot of sense. You know, you'll get Aja Wilson. She's back. Aja Wilson, whatever. I'd give her a shot with it too. So there's 2 WNBA spots. I see my boy's there, so I want to respect his time. Let's get going. One W NFL play. We have one. Just one tonight. Going to try to lick some of our wounds from last night. And this is just coming down to fade in the public. The move's been all day for the last 3 days. Under. Shedeur Sanders. Guy's been practicing with the 4th string since the preseason started. And they move him to the 1st string to start this thing off. To me, that screams turnovers. And respect him, and hopefully he does a great job. I'll be rooting for him. I mean, I don't want to see the Browns continue to be pathetic. But those turnovers lead to short field, which means that the Carolina defense, at least the number 1s and 2s early in the game, can go out there and pound. And this number's come down so much that I'm just looking to get on the other side of it now. And I'll take the over 33 for that spot. Last game I got for you guys, and then we'll get to our friend from Las Vegas. He's checking in. He's done working. He's early. He's probably like, shut up. Let me get on this thing and let's do it. So I will. I will do just that. I'm looking at the Alouettes team, and I know that the Alouettes are injured. I know that we are injured when it came to the CFL. We started off slow, but we just came off a nice winner, trying to rebound from last night's loss. Here's the thing. Yes, the Alouettes are injured. The Elks are the worst team in the CFL. Most of their losses have been bludgeonings. They already lost by 10 points 2 months ago. They've lost 5 straight overall. And I think this is an overreaction to all these injuries for the Alouettes. They're still one of the best teams in the league. They're sitting out there with a situation where they, coming off a tough game. We're kind of getting a soft line, in my opinion. We've got a situation where this team travels, so be it. But the fact that they've split their overall 6 games since they've been in the breath of mediocrity due to these injuries. Just think a good team, despite the injuries, has the depth to be able to go out there and find a way to strike through here. We'll take the money line. We don't need the 2 points. We won't lay the 2 points. We're just going to say win us outright. Take a -130. That's going to put a bow on the CFL part of the show. NFL, CFL, WNBA, MLB. Now we got AB from LV checking in with us backstage. He's ready to go. So without further ado, I skipped a couple of these slides. Here is our friend. He is checking in. And welcome, Mr. Babikitis. Happy Friday. TGIF, my friend.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Early morning today, not at the book, so different scenery behind me, but excited to be on and talk some fights with you.
Well, I'm sure this is one of those cards that has a ton of action. So that being said, what time does an early morning start for you in Las Vegas when it comes to an early shift?
Today was 6, so 6 to 2, and then just got home a little bit ago, and this card, in my opinion, from a booking perspective, leaves a lot to be desired with a lot of big chalky favorites. 9 of 12 fights are over $3, so not the most entertaining card from a booking perspective, but I mean, there's still some things to talk about for sure.
I'll tell you, I said this on the show that we do for the pre-recorded UFC. I liked last week's card. I've liked the last few cards. I'm a fan of watching finishes. I like violence. And some of these player props came through. The best part was there were a couple of these -700, -800s that you and I talked about as far as parlay busters. Are the big guys going to just continue? I mean, how many of them are there? You mentioned there's a huge number. A lot of fan favorites that we've seen on the card. These guys seem to fight in bunches. Like Stolyarenko seems to be on the card with Edwards. We seem to see, guys like, Andre Feely seems to play a lot or fight a lot when Anthony Hernandez is on the card. Ode Osborne came in on this one. I'm very curious to hear some thoughts from that one with Steve Ersig. And we've got Angela Over the Hill back on in the ring. Well, she had some fun with her weigh-ins as well. So, Andrew, I want to hear what we got going on, man. I know you know the deal. We're looking to see where's the action, where's some of that liability, and then we'll do some Q&A, you guys. So get questions that you have out there for our friend in the chat. I'm going to put him in drive. Keys to the car are yours, my friend. Love to hear what you have. Thank you for joining us, and respect you getting that out early. It's a Friday for you. It's got to be just shortly after lunchtime. So let's get you on and off.
Right on. So some of the fights that have more action than some of these big chalky fights. I know I've said it plenty of times when I come on. It's a pretty common thing for for these kind of cards where you see a lot of big chalk that we'll get some sharp action on these big underdogs, or at least a couple of them, within the next 20 hours or before the fights. Usually day of, we'll get some bigger bets when the guys feel like the price isn't going to get any longer on the dog. So not a tremendous amount of handle so far on this card. I would say if you look forward to next week's card, the prices are much more bettable. So we're already seeing a ton of handle on next week's card, but I'll do my best to give you guys what I've seen so far on this one. The card starts off with Cody Brundage versus Eric McKee. How do you say it? McConico. We opened up Brundage at -150. We're currently sitting -160. We have seen a few bets on the dog in this one. We actually need Brundage right now, which is pretty surprising. One of the favorites we're rooting for early, so it's nice to see a couple small stabs on the dog. Nothing too respected on that fight, but I'm assuming this is going to be one of the. I think it might be the most bettable price on the whole card, the closest to a pick 'em. But yeah, some shots on the dog in that one. Fernandez versus Stolyarenko. Don't really have much to report so far on that fight. We opened up Fernandez minus 380. She's sitting minus 400. A lot of parlay liability. That's about it. No dog shots so far. Medic versus Urbina. This is one where I've seen some movement over the last 24 hours. We opened this one up at minus 360. It got as high as minus 400, but it started coming back down today. We're sitting minus 340. Nothing too respected, but some Urbina shots, which is good to see. I honestly, from just my opinion, I don't hate that shot. Just looking through these big underdogs, I guess that's one where, I mean, I could definitely understand a case for that with Medic's time off. You know, he's had some injury history. He's actually coming off I think a pretty bad finish, but yeah, one of the bigger dogs, I think, you know, might have a pulse, and it's pretty, I don't know how to explain, but these cards kind of all fall into the same category. They're usually very similar. We're going to need one or two of these big dogs to come through for us to have a profitable day. If it's all chalk, the books are going to get hammered. And that's why you hate to see a card from a booking perspective. Not that I'm not going to enjoy the fights, like see so many big minus money fights. But yeah, we're hoping to see Urbina come through in this one. That wouldn't be too bad for the book. Jocelyn Edwards versus Cachoeira. This is one we've taken a couple bets on the dog, nothing too heavy yet. We opened up Edwards at minus 250. It's sitting minus 360, so you can see that's been a big mover so far for us. Yeah, but nothing. We haven't really gotten hit too heavy on Edwards, other than, you know, having some liability in the parlays. Did take an over bet, which is not super surprising for an Edwards fight, but you're going to have to lay some juice on that one. Next fight is Elijah Smith versus Kazama. Man, this one is, I think, the biggest favorite on the card. Yeah, biggest favorite on the card. We opened up Smith at minus 550. We're sitting minus 750. I'll keep it short on this fight. The price has moved 200 cents. We're sitting minus 750, like I said, but nothing too respected at our book. But, you know, maybe that big move means elsewhere in the market that there's been some heavy action. Hoping to see a couple bets on the dog before that fight takes place. The Walker versus Raphael fight. Walker opened minus 550, got as high as minus 700. We're now back down to minus 650. Nothing too much on the money line. We did get hit on the total in this one, an under, which I have seen a lot of people on social media agree that, you know, Raphael is very finishable. So you're looking at a 1.5 heavily juiced under. Not something that I would typically play, but there is some big action on the under in that fight. Duncan versus Anders. This is actually a good one to talk about because there's actually been a few stabs on Anders and the price has kind of moved a little bit. We opened up Duncan at minus 600, got up to 650, took a few shots when Duncan was sitting at that 650 range on Anders. Price is now back to minus 500. So, yeah, nice to see a couple Eric Anders bets in that one because it's going to be a heavy amount of parlay liability on all this chalk tomorrow. So trying to get ahead of that with a couple dog bets. Nothing too much in the total in that fight. The Miles Johns fight. Let's see. Oh, we did take a big bet on that one this morning. I do remember. We opened up Matsumoto at minus 300. We did get hit pretty heavily today on Miles Johns by one of our more respected bettors at plus 260. I'd say this is definitely one of the more respected bets that we've taken so far on this card. Quick amount of liability when you're looking at plus 260 dogs. So as of now, we're going to need the favorite in this one. As of tomorrow, we won't need the favorite, but like I said, it's good to get out ahead on a couple of these fights. But yeah, that's definitely one of the more respected bets so far on the card. Let's go a little bit higher. I think we got a few fights left. Yeah, really looking forward to this next one. Feely versus C-Rod. C-Rod has not been the most kind as a favorite. If you're laying the money on him, he's come up short in a couple spots, but he's been awesome as an underdog. Against Feely, he's looking like a big favorite. So we'll see how that goes this time. I've had I'm hoping C-Rod can pull through. We opened C-Rod at minus 230. It got I think it got a little bit higher than 230. Let me check. I know there's been some backers this week on Andre Feely. So yeah, 230. We got as high as 260. At that point, we did get some Feely action. So right now, we actually need C-Rod, which I don't hate being in that position. Same as all the other big chalky fights. I mean, this is one of the more bettable ones, but it would be nice to need C-Rod tomorrow. I just don't see that happening. But a couple stabs on Feely early in the week. Luciendo Hill, I'd say this is another one that is more bettable than some of the others that we talked about. And there's been a lot of Angela Hill love this week. Not that surprising. She's always, a pretty tough out for everybody, and she's fought the who's who. Yeah. So let's see. We opened up Luciendo at minus 190. It got as high as minus 210. At that point, we got hit on Angela Hill a few times. We're sitting back at minus 175. So, right around where we open this thing, which is a good thing for us. What else are we looking at? The Ursig versus Ode fight. Really, really light action on the money line. We did get a respected bet on the under in that fight. 2.5 under minus 145 early in the week. We moved it pretty aggressively. I don't hate that look of the under in that fight. Obviously, a big bounce back spot for Steve Ursig. We'll see if he's able to get that one done. Big under bet early in the week in that one. And then the main event, Fluffy Hernandez versus Roman Dolidze. This has been actually a fun one to book because there's been action on both sides. So it hasn't been as much of a pain as some of those other fights that are, $5 or $6. There's been some action on Dolidze, and there's been some backers at minus 300 on Fluffy. So it's been pretty balanced ticket-wise. We're a slight winner on Dolidze right now. We're going to need Dolidze tomorrow. We opened it at minus 320. It got as high as 340. We're back at 320. So we're right where we opened it. Very balanced action on the main event. And we also took a pretty big bet on the over in that fight. So it was sitting at 3.5 minus 110. Got hit there. Moved it a few cents, and we're sitting over minus 25 now. So yeah, that's pretty much the action on this fight card so far.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. We got a lot of questions in the chat today. You guys are chatty patties, considering there's it's a card that not a lot of people love here, but it looks like some validation questions on the action here. Our friend Ignacia says, likes Urbina by sub. Are you seeing any action on some of these prop bets at this point in the game, or do you find that the prop market tends to open up a little bit more on fight night?
Definitely, it opens up a lot more on fight night. A lot of the guys, I'm not calling them all public bettors or square bettors. I don't believe that is true, but a lot of these guys do wait till the last day when they see the weigh-ins and everything, and then they'll come in on some of these, especially this card where you're seeing a lot of minus 750s and stuff. You'll see more stabs on the method of victory markets. Let me go to the Urbina fight. No, nothing, but he is a plus 750 here to get the sub, which is his favorite method of victory out of all three of the methods. But I honestly don't hate that look. I think Medic is beatable. So I know Urbina has had a couple of tough outs, but I'm not saying I think he should be the favorite or anything crazy. I'm just saying if there's a big dog, he might have a pulse.
Yeah, I kind of looked at that and thought, yeah, with your point earlier about the big numbers, they should more than likely go out there and finish. But I thought of all the big numbers, he might be the softest guy to get that. Like the KO round one makes a lot of sense, but is that one of those spots where you see it kind of wane on as it gets past that second or third round? And then can the judges pull the upset? We talked about one of those last week where you were talking that some betting action came in on the over and try to take advantage of some of those spots. What's been the biggest line movement that you've seen so far? Like, which is the one that kind of made your guys go, wait a minute, did we price this right? Or maybe you heard some, commotion from other markets and you're thinking, hey, we got to go re-index our number.
It's so like on a card like this, you're more likely to see big moves, right? Like I talked about one earlier. I think it was the Smith fight. He opened minus 550. He's sitting minus 750 now. So in theory, it's a 200-cent move, but it's not as big of a move, in my opinion, as something that's closer to a pick'em that might have moved 40 cents, right? There hasn't been anything. It's just so hard to say because a lot of these fights are big, chalky lines. The Medic fight has come down a lot. That's one that has moved in that Urbina direction. Edwards fight significantly moved in the Edwards direction at minus 250.
Okay. I see some guys are thinking about the Fluffy Hernandez by submission situation out there. But it sounds like you were saying, hey, there's a lot of action coming in on this Hernandez fight and that you guys very much might need to have that dog on that main event come fight night. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, and I see some of these comments. I'd love to share more respected action, but I can only share what I'm seeing. Like this is a kind of card where it's going to be more day of with a lot of these big underdogs. It's very, very common where these guys, you'll see, just keep an eye on the movement in the markets tomorrow, and you'll see where some of this respected action's coming in. It really is not the most entertaining card from, a respected action. I hate to, downplay the card. I'm excited for any fights, but sure. Not great from the respected action. It's going to be hard to put a report out tomorrow with the limited big bets.
One of the things that you taught, I was just reading some of the comments in the chat here. I see Big Show says, which totals may be a better filter? I got to get some glasses, my friend. These small print numbers, I'm getting too old, I think is what's happening here. Any totals that jump off the board to you that you're thinking might, you had mentioned a couple, you were taking some under action early on. I think you said there were a couple spots where you had some respected numbers coming in.
Yeah. The totals are much more playable. That's a great point. We did, like I said, we got hit pretty big on the under in the Ursig versus Ode fight. That was from one of our more respected customers. That was something we circled. The Walker versus Rafael fight, we did get hit on the under. I don't necessarily love a 1.5 chalked heavily under, but I do understand that, Rafael has been very finishable. So I do get the bet. I just personally am not a bettor who's dying to lay minus 250 on a 1.5 total.
See, I thought about the Gone in 60 Seconds. I don't know if you guys take some of that book or not, but I've seen those where the guy just gets toasted right away. The problem I have with Cerquera is, he's not really a strong fighter, but he's also not afraid to turtle, where he kind of is like, oh, I took a quick shot that stung me. And that turtle gets the time ticking. So it takes a little while for the ref to tell him to move. And all of a sudden it's 90 seconds and not 60 seconds. So that guy gets busted up. So I see the juice on that thing. I mean, juice box, right? There's a reason Julius Walker's name is juice box, I guess, in that point. So I like hearing that decision or the Johns fight. I kind of was inspired to take a stab at the John side of things this week because I saw that number coming in early on the Matsumoto side of things. And I've never really, I'm on record at some live fights, talking, in some comments about the Muay Thai fighting aspect of things. It's just not my favorite style. And, that being said, I kind of thought the misunderstanding I think a lot of people have, if you're a novice UFC bettor, you look at the card and you see, okay, John's just lost. And, the reality is if you peel the onion back on that thing, he lost at the 145 weight class. So at 135, the guy's a beast, and he's gone out there and peeled off wins, and more wins. So
Yeah.
I kind of thought John's is live, especially the later that thing goes. I mean, the Matsumoto split decision loss to Rob Font, I guess you could argue that was kind of robbery because he did look like he was winning that thing, but he did get touched up late. And I thought that the Vegas judges, they prefer to see that wear and tear. They want to see the violence. They don't want to see this lay and pray, and they're going to award. And I thought that just fit the John side of things. Not a lot of cash coming in early on this guy, but I kind of thought, to your point, maybe this is a guy that starts getting popped Friday going into Saturday.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the more respected bets we've seen so far. I hate to, be lame about this card, but honestly, there's already been some more respected bets going into next week. So kind of is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say the handle has been awesome. A lot of the bets that we've taken this week are, people who are just line shopping. Once they see a little bit of movement, they're just betting in comparison us to a different book, right? Like it hasn't been, it's not one of those cards where you get strong action on both sides, right?
Our guy Cameron Sinet, we'll close it up with this. He asked, has there been a line hung yet on the Diego Lopes fight? Have you? I know you're a big, this is a great point to bring up here. If you guys aren't following Andrew on X at this point, does a great job sharing. And I know he's been doing a more concerted effort to get out, the fight cards, the main events and the co-mains a lot earlier than most of the other books that you'll see out there. So you're getting the lines that are being hung. I'm curious what you guys have for this one, but he's a great follow, you guys, at Abe Abakitas 24 on X. And he'll talk about it in a minute, I'm sure. But great insight, gives you all the sharp report. He's been posting throughout the week already with action that's coming up, not just here, but some boxing fights, the Canelo Alvarez thing. There's a lot of great insight that he's been sharing.
That fight's been awesome. The Canelo fight, it feels like one of the bigger boxing bouts since I've been working there. I've been there for almost 6 years now. And already that fight has been crazy. People come into the window, betting big 5-figure bets, on both sides of that fight. So I'm really, really looking forward to that one. I think I mentioned that one's right across the street from us over at Allegiant. So
that's cool.
That's going to be a fun weekend for Vegas. But talking about the Gene Silva versus Lopes fight, we did open Gene Silva minus 200. Not too much heavy handle on that yet, but like you said, I try to get out there early on these fights, especially when people ask. So like all these future pay-per-view fights, the main events and co-main events, the big fights, I'm trying to get out there for, people to come in and try to beat the early line moves, because a lot of times these things do move pretty aggressively. The markets are much softer before all the books have the lines up. So there is an advantage to betting early in some instances, but Silva's a $2 favorite in that one.
Oh man, that's early too. So that's big stuff. There's a question here in regards to the limits. I'm not sure how much you can get into with this or not, but do you see a big discrepancy, like early limits? Are you seeing, is it a big change? I've always been curious about that myself. When it comes to early action, are we talking adding 1, 2, 3 zeros when it comes to fight night? How much does the limit really change from early to game day action?
Yeah, I mean, I won't get into specifics, like actual number specifics, but definitely. I mean, that's market wide. I mean, the limits, and you'll even see the splits. Like if you're really paying attention, a lot of these books will go less fair on the splits further out. And then as the fights come closer, they'll tighten the splits up. So, that might go from a 30-cent split to a 20-cent split as the fight comes closer. And that's a common thing. Like if you're really looking around the market, you'll see that. Limits wise, definitely, I would say, if a fight is 3 weeks out, you're not going to be able to get as much down as if it's, a couple days out. That's very, very common.
Angela Hill splits. What kind of, I think you had mentioned that you're seeing some Angela Hill action. she had her shenanigans at weigh-ins. I'm not sure if you caught that or not, but I can appreciate that. Like
yeah,
the
I
high school
haven't I haven't gone back and watched the weigh-ins. I'm slacking on that. I need to get to that. But Hill, like I was saying earlier, I think Hill has been one of the more bet dogs. It's not really that shocking since she's one of the closer to the pick'em price tag. So yeah, their ticket count wise, I'll pull that up. And yeah, there's more tickets on Hill. Pretty significantly than Luciendo, but nothing too respected, honestly. But the price has come back down in Hill's direction, so that's something to circle and note. It was over $2 for a little bit on Luciendo, and now it's back down to minus 175. So if that means anything to you, I think that fight will probably play out very close. I'm not sure if you meant Hill split by split decision or Hill split ticket split, but Hill split decision would not shock me at all.
Me either. I amongst the various notes that I've written down, that may be something I'm talking about come Saturday. So much appreciated, Andrew. Tell them what you got cooking. I know things have got to be heating up out there. You guys got the big contest, college football contest here. You guys are pioneers and tip of the spear. Tell them what's cooking.
Yeah, that's been really exciting. I think everybody at the book is pretty happy with how the sign-up rate has been on that contest, especially because we know a majority of the signups are, last minute because that's just how people are, right? So, I mean, if you're looking to sign up, get in early, man, because if you're waiting to do it right before the season starts, those lines, and it's going to just be a lot. But college contest, we got the super contest, obviously. Next week I'll have more information. I'm sorry I didn't have the greatest information this week on this card, but next week will be a great card. We'll be doing some reduced juice on a few of those fights. That card is really, really awesome card. A lot of really bettable lines. I don't know if you guys have looked at it, but like I said, the co-main with Pico and the main event will have some reduced juice, probably a 10-cent split. So if you're looking to add a book, Superbook is one of the most competitive pricing books out there for you guys.
Well, we appreciate you taking the opportunity here. I know, again, you got out early, so you stayed late for us. Sorry to keep you so long, but we love talking fights. This is our bread and butter. We love the MMA, the combat, and everything else that goes along with it. So appreciate you taking the time. Good luck to all you guys in the chat. Make sure you do follow Abe Abakitas24 at X. Give the Superbook a follow out there and stop in and say hi if you're in Vegas. Tell them Sports Money sent you. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow for the live stream. Lots of luck. Catch my man Ramon Scott at 9 a.m. And we'll see you guys all really soon.